Hello, one and all, and welcome back to part 2 of Campaign 11, Foolish Burials. This here is the second part of the Prologue. With the Prologue being always going, it always runs a little long. So I do these in 2 parts because I don't want it to be all in one chunk. That'd be about 2 to 2.5 hours. So just breaking this up a little bit helps me out personally, and I think it helps the viewers out too. I don't think you guys want to like sift through 2 hours of video trying to find, where's my submission mentioned, or where's this submission mentioned. So we do this in 2 parts, and with this one, I forgot about one of Pimenta's submissions, so I'm gonna go ahead and read that right now. Pimenta's American submission is called Clownlumbia. So, the traditions of Clownlumbia are National Manpower Modifier plus 30%, and Spy Network Construction plus 20%. And then the first national idea is Lunatic Fairies. Clown Pieces fairies are very different from ordinary fairies. They are so-called lunatic fairies, and because of the efforts of Clown Piece's ability, they are harder, better, stronger, faster, and more aggressive than any ordinary fairy could ever be. Infantry combat ability plus 10%. Excuse me. The second national idea is Fairy of Hell. Fairies are the embodiment of nature. Nature gave the fairies a strong recovery ability and strong adaptability, even though for Clown Piece and her followers, nature here means hell. So manpower recovery speed plus 20%. So despite being an OPM, if Clownlumbia can survive and get their first and second national ideas, I think they will be okay. They're also druidic. So they have attrition for enemies plus 1 and movement speed plus 10%. So they have some okay military buffs. They just need to get to them through technology and idea selection. With that being said, we're going to move on to the next set of submissions. These are from... Who's next on the list? It is Sekan. So I don't believe Sekan did localization this time around for their submissions, so we're just gonna go ahead and I don't think these are localized. So Phoenicia, the first submission from Sekan. I'm actually gonna move my microphone a little bit, so I'm sorry if you can hear this. I'm just moving my microphone a little bit so that it is. I'm not having to like move around so much for my screen, and just overall just make the recording just that little bit better. And I'm gonna lower the music down just ever so slightly. Even though I enjoy the music, and I hope you enjoy the music as well, it can be a little bit loud at times. But the first are the traditions of Phoenicia are trade efficiency plus 15% and colonial range plus 30%. The first national idea is ship cost minus 15%. Remember, that is all ships, not just one kind. The second national idea is experienced settlers, giving colonists plus 1. The third national idea is goods produced plus 15%. So if Phoenicia survives their encounter with Zestriosia, they will definitely be able to be a strong Eastern Mediterranean power. However, if Phoenicia does not consolidate their local region and instead starts sending colonies all over the place, like North Africa, Iberia, France, etc., Phoenicia will definitely be in a world of hurt, as they will be overstretched later on. The second submission from Sekan is Mesopotamia. The traditions of Mesopotamia are development cost minus 10% and reform progress growth plus 15%. The first national idea is tech cost minus 10%. The second national idea is goods produced plus 10%, and the third national idea is land force limit plus 22.5%. So very, very strong all around early on. They don't have any direct military buffs, like no infantry combat ability, no discipline or morale, but if Mesopotamia can survive diplomatically and just build up to techs 3, 4, and 5, where they get national ideas, they will be a very, very strong nation over here in the Middle East. The next submission from Sekan is the Alpine Federation, right over here. Let's take a look at these national ideas. The traditions of the Alpine Federation are hostile attrition plus 1 and yearly prestige decay plus or minus 1%. The first national idea is diplomatic reputation plus 1. The second national idea is goods produced plus 1 flat. The third national idea is stability cost modifier minus 10%. So definitely a much more defensive and diplomatic focused nation as opposed to one that is going for super direct military buffs. There is no added defensiveness in these national ideas, so purely relying on mountains being that sort of stopgap or that where defensiveness is mounted up. But the additional attrition could be really good if they go to war against Fraxenatum or Fakafia or hey, maybe even like Blazing Saddle or Trier. The next submission from Sekan is Transriveria. The traditions of Transriveria are cavalry combat ability plus 15% and caravan power plus 30%. I forgot something. I have to do something with Opera of Audio later. But yeah, those are the traditions of Transriviera. And then the first national idea of Transriviera is domestic trade power plus 15%. The second national idea is mercenary maintenance minus 20%, and the third national idea is colonist plus 1. So Transriviera is a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm not sure how good caravan power is gonna be in the New World per se, because there's no end nodes in the New World, obviously. So I'm not really sure how strong the trade nodes are. The domestic trade power could be pretty good, could be kind of meh. We gotta see. Mercenary maintenance is great if Transriviera actually gets enough money to hire mercenaries. That's kind of like the big thing. And obviously more colonists is just great. There's no question about that. Moving on from Sekan's submissions, we have the Cyan Menace. Their first submission is Breda, right over here. So the traditions of Breda are trade efficiency plus 15% and caravan power plus 30%. The first national idea is global trade power plus 10%. The second national idea is trade steering plus 10%. And the third national idea is merchants plus 1%, or plus 1. And I don't think these are localized. Yeah, I don't believe these are localized. If they are, please tell me, Cyan, and I will read the first two later on, but for now, I don't think they are. I don't think they are localized. But this is definitely the trade-focused nation he chose. Usually, from what I remember, he usually tries to go like a theme for his nations with regards to maxing out a stat, quote unquote. So this is maxing out trade. The next submission from the Cyan Menace is Starguard, which is maximizing dice roll bonuses. So the traditions of Starguard are combat bonus in the terrain of capital plus 1 and own territory dice roll bonus plus 1. The first national idea is global defender dice roll bonus plus 1. And the second national idea is global attack dice roll bonus plus 1. And the third national idea is yearly prestige plus 0.5. So clearly banking on the dice rolls, obviously I said that before, I'm going to say it again. What's really good about that is there's just a lot of river crossings in these provinces where Stargard is. So, mitigating those dice roll malices with +1, +2, and plus the religion, obviously Suo Monusco with its modifications, giving own territory dice roll bonus +1. You know, Stargard could really start to get like +2, +3, maybe even +4 dice roll bonuses in battles they engage in, which is really fucking good. We gotta wait and see though, because they have Lübeck and the Teutonic Order, as well as maybe Marathia and Breda to deal with. Remember, they are religiously isolated. They are Suo Monusco. Folks don't like them. Did I put... Oh, Tree are supposed to be Waldensian. Allow me to change that real quick. Change religion, Tree Waldensian. There you go. Yeah, because we want to have at least a little bit of religious diversity in this campaign. A little bit. The next submission from Cyan is Handia, right here. Handia. So this is the morale maxing nation. The traditions of Handia are governing capacity +30% and states governing cost -15%. The first national idea is morale of armies +20%. The second national idea is morale damage +20%. And the third national idea is morale damage received -20%. So, Handia is absolutely going to be a juggernaut in early wars if they manage to get into them. However, the Indian subcontinent is not really populated this time around. There's no one in the Gangetic Plain up here, and there's only one nation over here, a couple just south of Handia, and then only one to the east of Handia. So it's going to be a while before they really reach anyone. But even if they start fighting like Golconda or Sind at Tech 5 or 6 or 7, that morale of armies is really going to be pivotal. And especially, you know, morale of armies +20%, and morale, dealing that morale damage, that's pretty big. It's pretty big. And also their religion is Sol Invictus, so another 10% morale of armies. The next submission from Cyan, the last one, is Saginawe. It's right over here. And I'm not sure which this one was maxing out, but, you know, we're going to look at it. The first national idea is discipline +7% and possible Manchu banners +75%. Are they Manchurian? They are. Okay. The first national idea is yearly corruption -0.2. The second national idea is global settler increase +5. And the third national idea is settler chance +5%. So, excuse me. I'm not entirely sure what the theme of this one is. Maybe it's pure conquests. Maybe it's just expand as fast as you can. I'm not sure. But having Manchurian banners and reducing corruption at that rate can be really, really good. We just gotta see what happens with it. It's called It's gonna be a while before Saginawe even reaches West Lichtenland or the United States of Albania. So we'll see. Maybe around Tech 5, 6, or maybe Tech 10 or 11. Our next submissions come from the likes of Pepsi. Pepsimus. His first submission is over here, and I don't know how to pronounce this. I really don't, so I'm just going to call them the Lost Anglos, since they are Anglo-Saxons that have escaped the Isles and are now lost in some new region. The traditions of the Lost Anglos are national tax modifier +15%, and naval force limit modifier +22.5%. The first national idea is Royal Grith. While our people are already offered legal protection under their houses and kinships by the legal munds, foreigners do not have such ties. Instead, foreign traders shall be granted griths by our ruler, ensuring their safety to trade in our lands. Trade efficiency plus 10%. The second national idea is Form Hidaj. Hidaj? In this strange new land, and exotic plants and goods are found in abundance. These goods are as valuable as they are rare. The organization of new hidages dedicated to establishing and funding farms will go far to enrich our coffers. Goods produced plus 1 flat. So, from the outset, the Lost Anglos want a big navy, and then they want to profit from both taxes and trade. And later on, production. We'll see if they're able to get that economy going, or if they'll get into some drawn-out wars against Brunei or Kappa units or Bone, and just eventually succumb to not expanding very much. We gotta see. The next submission from Pepsi is Fallen London, right over here. I hear it's a reference to a video game or a browser game of some sort. I didn't play it, but it seems pretty cool. The first national idea, or the traditions of Fallen London, are naval combat off owned coasts plus 1 and fleet movement speed plus 2. Excuse me. And then our first national idea is Devils in the Details. For better or worse, our dear city has found itself neighbors with the natives of hell. The strange and infernal machinations of devils are hardly fit for the more civilized palate, but their odd ideas and views offer a perspective none else could offer. Idea cost minus 15%. The second national idea is Communus Yard's Contract. As the expedition is mounted to reclaim the surface in the wake of the collapse, the provisioning of artillery on both land and sea is of great import. The Untersee holds many secrets, quite a few of which are applicable to the barrel of a cannon. Artillery fire plus 1. So, Fallen London, experts on naval combat, and they will definitely be powerful later on with that artillery fire if they survive being in a sea of other tags, Fraxinatum, the Papal State, Thestias, even Alpine Federation and the Aetolian League. They're in the mix of things. They're going to have a tough time, but they could come out on top. They might. Let's see. Pepsi's next submission is Nongerheim. I'm not sure where this idea came from, but you know what? Let's read it out. Oh, Pepsi. Let me read something real quick. I think I have to talk to you about this. I'll still read the localizations and all that, but yeah, this slipped by, unfortunately. Let me just see something. Yep, okay. I have to talk to you about this one. We'll see. Thankfully, I think Nongerheim I can place once it's fixed, I can place Nongerheim again later on, and it won't be an issue because they don't border anyone, so it's fine. But it will be fixed. The traditions, which, this does have to be changed, that infantry shock is not allowed, but we'll fix it. Naval force limit plus 15% and infantry shock plus 1. And then the first national idea is Trails of the Ice Barges. Our attunement with the sea and ice allows our vessels to traverse harsh and frozen seas, sailing a great distance to foreign and exotic lands for goods few have seen before. The small men always balk at the piers when our fleets arrive for the season. Ship trade power plus 30%. Haflaudrting. I don't know how to say that, but okay. A giant from every clan is required to stand in attendance for his kin among the court of the Kungur. The semi-nomadic nature of the clans provides a wide array of views, and many who are eager to express them. Cost of advisors with rulers' culture, minus 5%. So, aside from that tradition, Nongerheim is still going to have a hard time really gaining a foothold because they are island-based. They don't really have a foothold on the mainland besides the Hebrides Islands. So, if they're able to get a foothold, if they're able to colonize like a couple provinces and actually have a mainland, then they should be okay. I mean, we saw in the test run, Nongerheim, they colonized in Scandinavia, they moved their capital over here, and they started to be, kind of successful. So, we will see what happens with that. The next submission from Pepsi is Macronesia. Macronesia. Let me just do something off the side real quick. So, Macronesia, he told me that the theme with Macronesia is it is colony focused, because he found a little something called Nan Modal, which the Nan Modal just straight up increases your settler growth if you upgrade it. The thing is, I don't know if the AI is gonna really build it up early on. Because, yeah, sure, global settler increase plus 10 early on and later, it's pretty nice. Second level, 15. And then the third level is plus 25 per year, along with settler chance plus 5%. It just takes a lot of money for the AI to do that. So, the traditions of Macronesia are global settler increase plus 10, and then colony development boost plus 1. The first national idea is advisor cost minus 20%. The second national idea is morale of armies plus 15%. And the third national idea is construction cost minus 15%. So, purely set on colonizing fast and getting out there, especially with their religion being Manaism, giving that global settler increase plus 15%, it's looking really good for them colonizing the Pacific. In fact, in the test run, they formed Hawaii, which was really cool. With that being said, we're going to go on to Pepsi's last submission, Mopaka. The traditions of Mopaka are... I should say, this is another naval-based one for Pepsi. He's experimenting with it a lot this campaign, which, hey, I applaud. It's pretty cool to do that. The traditions are privateer efficiency plus 30% and available loot plus 45%. The first national idea is Land of the Isbagords. Nestled away in the nooks and crannies of bays and valleys, our people thrive away. Others would call our homes little more than slums, but these slums have been the safest retreats we could afford. Construction cost minus 10%. The second national idea is Banners of the Kumuz. We shall accept those of us who take to the seas instead of retreating away to the steppe or remaining in our old underfoot ways. The seas are harsh, and all must hold together to outfox the Nizkuz in their hunts. Manpower in accepted culture provinces plus 25%. So, the more Mopaka can colonize and thrive in the Caribbean and dominate it, the more secure they'll be navally. And as we can see later on, they get more naval bonuses. And, we've seen Caribbean nations actually do pretty well. Duck's old submission from around here, in this area, it did really well. I think it formed Haiti and eventually started dominating Central America in one campaign. So, never doubt the Caribbean nations. They're strong. They're strong in their own right. So, with Pepsi's submissions done, we are going to go to Tuvi. Tuvi's submissions of Tau Sai being the first. I'm not sure what his theme for Taosai is, but, you know, we're going to find out. The traditions of Taosai are infant... Oh, God, that peaked the microphone. I'm sorry. The traditions of Taosai are infantry cost minus 10% and yearly prestige plus 1. The first national idea is Taosai's commendment. Taosai's interconnections with himself is able to conduct the same connection toward his soldiers. Infantry combat ability plus 10%. The second national idea is Kappa's selflessness. The Kappa units that fight under Taosai give their utmost support for his operation. Discipline plus 5%. So, if Taosai is able to get a foothold on land, you know, expand their holdings, then they will definitely be a force to be reckoned with regards to their land military. However, if they're not, if they get run off of Ireland early on, they may very well be stuck over here because colonial range is not high. They start at Tech 1, so colonial range is only 60. And it gets improved at Tech 3. But even at Tech 3, you gotta remember, if they only have Iceland, I don't know if they'd be able to reach like Norway or even back in the Isles. So, Taosai is in a little bit of a precarious position. But if they're able to establish a foothold, they can be very powerful. The next submission from Tuvi is Green. The traditions of Green are national tax modifier plus 10% and global trade power plus 15%. The first national idea is flexible harvests. We can keep making all sorts of goods without getting tired or getting hungry. Production efficiency plus 15%. The second national idea is the earth pays. The dirt feels nice to live in, but where are the nearest magma vents? Land maintenance modifier minus 10%. So, green is gonna, like, they're cheerful, they're cool. I like the color green as well. However, they are a one province miner and everyone else around them is starting out with more provinces. So, when they contact like Kazan or Maratia or Belobog or Crimea or even Khazaria, they may be a little bit on the back foot with regards to their overall power. But we just gotta see. They will have a lot of time to build up before they really meet anyone. The next submission from Tuvi are the Kappa units, which are right here in the Philippine Islands. The first the traditions of Kappa units are goods produced plus 10% and reduced morale damage taken by reserves plus 30%. The first national idea of the Kappa units are Kappa knows no pain. Kappa units feel nothing when one of themselves gets taken down. It rather motivates them. Manpower recovery speed plus 10%. Excuse me. The second national idea of the Kappa units are Taosai's insight. Taosai is the leading factor of Kappa's presence. Therefore, he gives his ingenuity to his people. Kappa blindly follows his ideas. Idea cost minus 5%. So a little bit of the same thing with regards to the Lost Anglos. If the Kappa units are stuck over here in the Philippine Islands, and they send one colonist to Canton or Guangzhou, that's what it is. And they send one colonist up here. It's like they'll get overstretched. They'll get involved in wars they can't win, maybe go into some debt, and kind of just like not get anywhere. What the Kappa units should do, we'll see if the AI actually does it, is consolidate hold over the Philippine Islands, because they are profitable, and then start sending out colonists to places that aren't actually like inhabited, or at least not taken by others. Like right here at Haiphong and Than Hoa. So like over here in the Vietnam or the core Vietnam area, as well as, I don't know, maybe the Korean Peninsula if no one is there. That is it for Tuvi, I believe. Yes, the next one is from Duck. Duck submitted Belobog. However, there is no localization this time around. However, he did tell me these are nations from Honkai Star Rail, I believe. So the traditions of Belobog are advisor cost minus 10%, and all estates loyalty equilibrium plus 5%. The first national idea is land attrition minus 20%. The second national idea is fire damage received minus 10%. And the third national idea is construction costs minus 10%. So Belobog, you know, they got some pretty good national ideas. Land attrition proved very, very useful. I think it was 1 or 2 campaigns ago. As well as, you know, having fire damage received, that's going to only get better as time goes on. And to top it all off, Belobog starts off with 6 provinces, so even though none of them are super standout right now, it's still a nice base of power to start off from. So we're going to see how they do. Next submission from Duck is the Shanzhou Alliance. And this is going to get the Empire. They're not going to be the Emperor of China. That's going to get taken away. Don't worry. The traditions of the Shanzhou Alliance are galley cost minus 10% and average monarch lifespan plus 30%. The first national idea of the Shanzhou Alliance is trade efficiency plus 5%. The second national idea is national tax modifier plus 10%. And the third national idea is spy network construction plus 30%. Going to be some interesting stuff to see how they do, since they're going to have more of a navy present with those cheaper galleys. However, their economy may not grow as fast as others in the region, simply because others are using like plus 10 and plus 15%, or these are just plus 5%. I'm confident, though, with 6 provinces to start out with, that the Shanzhou Alliance will definitely be able to make an impact in neighboring regions. You know, they might ally with Senkai, or maybe Myoren, because they're the same religion, or maybe they'll reach out to Neo Buyeo. Who knows? We gotta wait and see. The next submissions are from Burn, returning from a little bit of an absence. It's good to have him back. His first submission is the Danelaw. So, the traditions of the Danelaw are light ship combat ability plus 15% and ship trade power plus 30%. I think he did localization for all of these. So, the first national idea is camaraderie. When the enemy comes charging, first instinct is to flee. With a strong spirit of camaraderie drilled into our army, we can ensure that they do not break in the heat of battle. Shock damage received minus 15%. And the second national idea is determined farmers. We were traditionally farmers and fishermen seeking new lands to cultivate our trades. Our farms are prosperous and plentiful. Production efficiency plus 15%. So they're going to be definitely in the contention for dominating the seas around the Isles, and then their military is going to be rather hardy early on because of that shock damage received minus 15%. Shock damage is very much more present in like the first half of EU4 rather than the later half. So the Danelaw should be doing pretty good against like New Japan and maybe even Taosai. We'll have to see about that, because I think nations start to get to Tech 2 in general around like 6 to 10 years into the campaign. So maybe they'll be able to colonize and take over New Japan as they get that first national idea. Maybe they'll falter. Over here in Khazaria, we have some steppe nomads. Are they steppe nomads? You're damn right they are. With that being said, the traditions of the Khazars are tolerance of heathens plus 3 and improved relations plus 15%. The first national idea of the Khazars is trade efficiency plus 10%. The second national idea is cavalry to infantry ratio plus 45%. And the third national idea is cavalry flanking ability plus 75%. So obviously because they are a horde, Baron wanted them to focus on cavalry-based stuff, and they are at a pivotal juncture between regions, so they get more trade bonuses. We'll see how well they do against Crimea as well as Kazan, since those are the closest neighbors. I don't think Khazaria will reach down to meet Armina, but we'll see. If things go well for Khazaria, they may even meet Green eventually, but they might just stay over here around the northern Caspian Sea. Got no idea. And our final submission, rounding us out, is the Opera of Audio. Mango did not have time for all the ideas he wanted to get through this time around, but he got this one done, and it's a curious submission, I gotta say. Mr. Emperor Swag 10 pounds of pineapple. I don't know what to make of that. But okay, we're gonna go with it. The traditions of the Opera of Audio are reinforced speed plus 15% and global settler increase plus 10. The first national idea is the best time to be alive. I was born too late to live life without an internet, but too early to live life on Mars. I am lucky enough to live exactly at a point in time where I can see a movie about robot cars fighting evil robot gorillas in a theater that serves beer. State maintenance modifier, minus 20%. The second national idea is the power of concrete. Don't waste your money on healing crystals. It's a scam. The real healing power comes from concrete. Every morning I wake up and I pray with my cinder blocks to the concrete giants in the sky in hopes that they will fix my credit score. Construction costs, minus 20%. So, the Opera of Audio, as unique as it is, just based on their national ideas and stuff, I have a feeling they will do very well against 9VG. The test run, they did very well against 9VG, so they probably will do well again. I'm not sure. I'm not revealing the development map, but it could happen. We'll see. Maybe 9VG got blessed with super good development and then they'll build up an army and sweep the Opera of Audio. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be a reverse sweep. Something's gonna happen there. But that's really gonna be about it. If you're also wondering about the resurrected vanilla tags, for those, I also did some custom localization for them. I personally did localization for them if the original creator did not make localization for them. So like Maltasia, the original creator did not make localization for them, so I made this localization because these are modded tags and I can write out as much as I want for them. I'll just read this one. Malt merchants. Despite the contraction of our once illustrious empire, the merchants of Maltasia are capable of extending the influence of our realm to far-flung coasts. Recruiting new merchants is perhaps one of the easiest parts of this process. The harder parts include sailing and learning foreign languages. So, most of these have unique localizations. Pepsi actually provided, he wanted to provide some localization for Blazing Saddle, so he sent me some localization. I'll read one of his. Reinstate the herd tax. With the long journey from our homeland finally over, we must turn inward to properly organize and unite the rider clans once more. Our people have long been pastoral nomads, and even now this has not changed, with the care of our animals being the forefront matter that all the rider clans concern themselves with. As the new leaders of our people, it ultimately falls to us to see the safety and prosperity of those below us. Thus, a tax on the profits and goods from these herds is a necessity to properly sustain efforts against the common burdens that all riders must share. So, Pepsi made these localizations for Blazing Saddle, and they're really good. I like that he still has some inspiration for it, because before, Blazing Saddle did not do that well when it was originally created, and it's cool that it's getting a second chance. I have really nothing else for this prologue, though. We got through everyone's submissions, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty good, pretty interesting, and I'm gonna be recording part 1 in the very near future. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all when part 1 comes around. Look forward to it.